I have my Chinese class in just a second, and I have my presentation to do today. So I came a little earlier so I could, run through my lines. And I realized there isn't any coffee shops around here. So I found a Starbucks on the map. But when I went inside, they didn't have any seatings. It was just the full-on bar service. So I found an Honest on Bro and I got myself a sandwich. They also didn't have a really nice sitting area. So I'm going to be eating this in the car and running through my lines. And next time I'm going to try to find something a little further away, but I like to come earlier because I don't live that close by around this neighborhood. So I could just practice a little bit before going to my class. I got an egg white, avocado, and tomato bagels with a iced tea. I'm gonna have this and run through my lines, and then we're gonna go to the class. Wish me luck. It's my first time presenting in Chinese, and I'm thinking, like, if I get through this, presenting in English shouldn't be any problem, right? Because I have another presentation coming in for work. So I think this is gonna help me with my self-esteem. We'll see. This is a real test to see if this microphone is working. I'm outside and it's windy. I'm in a coffee shop. My class ended. I drove straight up here. Just got myself chai vanilla tea. I'm waiting here for a girl that I met a couple of weeks ago when I was teaching another girl photography. She approached me at a coffee shop and she was like, I am interested in learning how to use the camera properly. Would you be interested to teach me? So I gave her my card and she reached out to me. And so today we scheduled to come in, talk about it. So I'm excited to meet her and teach her about cameras, how to use her camera and lenses. I'm so excited to meet her. So I'm waiting on her to come. My class went great. I had a mistake in one of the family branches on my dad's side. If you speak Chinese, you would know that they refer to each group of families with a different name. So the cousins on my mom's side are Biao everything. So you put Biao in front of the name of the cousin. And on the dad's side, Tang, but only if Tang is for your uncle. I don't have an uncle. I have just aunts on my dad's side. So I did put Biao in the correct way, but when I was practicing last night, they told me, my husband and his mom told me to put Tang, because anything on the dad's side, they thought it was Tang. They misunderstood. They forgot that I don't have any uncle. So anyways, it was lost in translation. I made a mistake on that one. And I don't think I have my numbers right, like 1, 2, 3, 4. In Chinese, I keep running into an issue when I'm stressed, I don't see it correctly, so I'm gonna have to find a way to practice that correctly. I came here a little earlier, so it's 15 minutes till I'm supposed to meet her at 2:30. It's 2:14 right now, so I'm gonna work on my homework a little bit. I'm waiting on her to come, and I'm so excited to meet her and teach her everything I know about photography. So this is really great. All right, talk to you later. Just finished. It was so nice, and I'm so happy that I'm able to help other women learning how to use their cameras.
and she was getting so excited looking at the photos she was able to take. It makes me very happy about that. All the suffering I have gone through in life to learn how to use my camera is now useful to others, and I'm able to teach them in one session, and that makes me so happy. In like an hour or so, actually this one might have taken an hour and a half, yeah, an hour and a half, I'm able to teach them how to use their camera, and they're immediately able to take photos and be in charge and use the manual setup. Oh, so nice. I wish I had that option when I started. It was very difficult for me to learn initially. It took me a very long time. I was learning bits and pieces and took me a while to put everything together. But now I'm able to teach others. Such a nice feeling when you get to that place. All right, now I have to go to the Sam's Club because I need to get some food. And I saw that there was one over here. Maybe I could just go there and get the stuff I need. I can also compare it to the Sam's Club in our neighborhood. Though, if I do that, I have a long ride home. The food might get bad. You know what I mean? But if I'm getting it right from my house, then it's so much easier to load them up in the car and get quicker home. Maybe we won't. But I'm kind of hungry and I want to get some food, because when you're going grocery shopping with empty stomach, you tend to buy like the whole store. And I've learned that lesson. It's not that often that I get Sunday off like this, so it makes me really happy. Let's get started.
By the way, I finished this book. I'm going to read out those notes that I've written from this, and I hope it's useful to you. So the author of this book, I didn't know anything about, so I did a little bit of research. She calls herself a communication consultant. She suffered from social anxiety early on in her life. She was an elementary English teacher and then became a flight attendant. And later on, she found her way in Broadway. And she became later a cruise director. Apparently, her acting career wasn't very successful, and she mentioned of that. And yeah, so that's a little bit about her. So one comment that I have is like, it was obvious that she has a work corporate, like office job. And that's why I was curious. I wanted to learn a little bit more about her work experience, and this is where I got. So you'll notice that, and I wonder if there are any other books out there that is more geared toward like office environments. Nonetheless, it has a lot of good points. It's so easy to read as well. So I'm going to read out some of the notes and comments I've made. The first thing I have written is that the first 2 weeks at work is the most important time. This is where you set up your personality and set the tone. Next thing I have is that body language accounts for 55% of your expressions. So anything from your walking is important. So it recommended to walk directly and fast pace, and always rush into a location. Like you have a location in mind, so you're walking rather than kind of like browsing, you're bored, you're walking around finding things or confused. So have a direction, walk straight to the point. She had some points about smiling. She said, don't smile too big, too often, and not so soon. I can understand what she means by that. She's trying to make you not look so timid in terms of, yes, that's right, that sort of attitude. But she also mentioned that if you're in a managerial position, be generous with your smile. This is mostly for people who are under
manager positions. Also, if you're customer service, feel free to smile because it's mandatory. Directions. So she said, if you are a manager or supervisor, try this thing they called a torso flashlight. A theatrical light director one time told her that whenever someone's talking to you, so imagine there's a flashlight on your chest, your torso. So whenever somebody's speaking, then you're moving your body to flash, to bring light into this person. So this was interesting. So you're pretty much giving attention to the person that is speaking. But that's more for a supervisor kind of position. Don't give hit and run praises. So whenever you're praising someone, don't say like, good job or something like very quick. She said bare minimum, give 3 minimum sentences whenever you're praising something or someone or your coworker. Well, this was interesting. It says when people are coming to you and they're complaining about their position, their supervisor, whatever, like your coworkers are coming in. So what do you deal with like uncomfortable situation? They put you in a place that they're like, oh my gosh, have you heard? Like, I didn't get promoted, whatever, right? It said, comment on their emotions. So you could say, that's disappointing. I understand why you're so upset about this. And just validate their emotions. This will help you not to have to give an opinion about, their special situation. So as long as they have their emotions validated, that usually is enough for people. She also mentioned something about hamburger technique. So whenever you're trying to give any comments about an issue or a behavior, so said like, imagine this is a hamburger and these are the buns. So the buns are a compliment. So you start with the bun and then go discuss the issue and then go to another compliment, another bun. And if this person is very sensitive, then you have the ketchup, the mustard. So those are little sparkles of extra information you can give. Not necessarily all the times, but you can add some decorative comments in between. About email etiquettes, never assume there is a privacy. So everything you post in email to anyone at work, even though it's your bestie at a time, just assume that it's going to be all public. I like what she said about the emojis. She said, avoid the GIFs, or GIF, some people call it, altogether. There's a chance of misunderstanding and it's not professional. About the emojis, she said, don't send it to anyone that was born before 1980s. And only send it to people that are lower in ranking than you are. Don't send it to your hierarchy people. Okay, this one was interesting. She said, should we have close friends at work? And so she goes a little bit about defining what friendship is. And she said, friendship definition is that someone you can share innermost thoughts and dreams with, someone who is there no matter what, and who has your best interests at heart at all times. Considering that, would that be safe to have a close friends at work? And the answer is no. So no close friends at work. So yeah, don't share any secrets at work, and don't let your weaknesses be known. Treat your coworkers like eggshell, and don't get close to anyone. Don't ever let your guards down. These are her comments. She says, remember that it's a corporate jungle. Okay, so about touching, physical touching, says under no circumstances, she said under no circumstances you're not allowed to touch anybody at work. Do not touch. She said, do not touch anyone at work. No physical contact under no circumstances, other than handshake when you first start a job. Okay, this one about online activities. So if you have a social media account, you're an online persona, just remember everything that you post, your boss is going to see. Are you comfortable with sharing that? About presentation. She said the best time to present, it would be mid-morning, like around 10 a.m. and then mid-afternoon. So anything way early in the morning, people are not fully awake and close to lunchtime, they're hungry, and close to the end of the day, they want to just leave, so they won't be listening to you very well. She said when you're speaking, speak to the people on the last row. And while speaking, make sure your eyes meet briefly as many as audience as possible. All right, what else? I have a lot of notes on this one. And the best way to get better at presentation is to give as many talks to whoever is willing to listen to you. Oh, there was this thing that was interesting, I thought. She said, avoid saying no problem to whatever they say. Instead, just say you're welcome or it's my pleasure, because when you say no problem, it looks like there was a problem. And they're saying, oh, no, it wasn't a problem. So she had, I think, personal matter with that statement. Don't complain at work. She said, offer solution. So whatever there's a problem, try to be a solution maker. She said research has shown that if you're a positive thinker, if there's an issue, then you come up with the solutions to solve it. But if you're a negative thinker, you just sit there and complain. So she said an example of the AC was broken in her office, and they just had it, everybody complaining all day about like being so hot, humid in the office. And then they had an intern starting off, and then she went ahead and did some research on finding like temporary AC rental situation, and she got a lot of praises because of doing that. Instead of complaining, she actually did something for the company. Okay, she said, be a little bit more compassionate about how your boss is treating you. If your boss is being annoying and is treating you badly, this could be because their boss is terrible. Because every boss has a boss, so it could be like their boss is really terrible and is being yelled at or not being treated well. And if they're acting out your boss on you, do not react and stay silent. Imagine your boss is in diaper and is acting out. So just let them have their fit, but you won't react into it. Try not to react. She said if there's some issues are happening, try to document, have a diary, and just write down daily of everything that is going on, all the conversations being happening. Her solution about micromanagers was that these people are just afraid of their own position and their own standing. So they feel like you're going to be like doing something, you're going to forget, drop a ball that's going to reflect on them. So they have very low self-esteem, and it's known by their management. So their management already know that this boss is not very strong in their standing, so don't be worried about that. But what you can do to prevent their reactionary actions is that try to be fearless, don't be afraid. Remember, it's the corporate jungle, and stay calm. So this is just the body side is going to help to calm them as much as possible. And then what you're going to do is try to figure out like what is it that they are considering a threat. Is it like the deadlines because they're reporting to their boss? Is it the results? Or what is it that they consider a threat? And then try to work on getting their trust and being on top of that threat. If it's deadline, be on time or even sooner with providing the reports. So if it's the results, try to do something that can hit the numbers. And whatever you do, do not act nervous in front of them. Okay, then I have some post-its because I wrote so much I ran out of space. Okay, about HR. She says, don't show emotions in front of HR. Don't ever come out crying or being angry. And just know that nothing is confidential. So whatever you're saying is going to show its way somewhere to your boss or public. She said, body is easier to adjust than your brain. So if you're getting emotional, try to relax your body and then the brain hopefully follows. Okay, if you ever make any mistakes, own up to it and then come up with a suggestion on solving the issue. She talked about how to deal with jerks at work, and it said, it's with the wording, how you play with them. So if you need to bring up something to them, start with hesitating or awkward. So you're just like, hey, I hesitated to bring this up to you. I know it's a little awkward for me to say this, but this is how I feel, or something, that they are doing it to you. And whatever they say, you just repeat their own words back to them. Oh, so you are feeling that I'm this way. Is this correct? I see. And then you say, I understand. And if it's like escalating, you're just pick up a piece of paper or a notepad and start saying like, hey, let's put this down on a paper and start writing down. That usually freaks them out that you're documenting. So how to deal with the gossipers. It says the gossipers need attention, and so they want to feel superior to you. So if they come into you and they're gossiping, they're like, oh, have you heard this and this happened over, whatever. You just say, oh, really? Let's go talk to them. And that's going to scare them. Like, wait, what? Because they said, don't listen to their gossips because you will be the next victim. My question to her is like, okay, so what if I'm like, okay, let's go talk to them. And then this gossiper is like, yeah, let's go. So it's very confrontational. This one's about disagreements. So it said when somebody is like saying something that you're not agreeing with, start with this. You say, you make an interesting point. That's very insightful. I understand how you could see it that way. Even say yes, not like, oh no, I don't think so. You just say, yes, that's interesting. Way to look at it. And then give it a long pause. She said this is what she picked up from the comedians. So you're trying to set the mood. So they said something is like, it might not be all the way correct or logical. So after you say that, which is a contrast to where you thought it was, right? So you let that sink. The audience also kind of questioning, was that really interesting? Was that really intriguing? So after the long pause is over, then you say your opinion. Okay, this one is like, never complain about your boss. No matter what's happening, okay? You don't talk in the office or outside of office anything negative about your boss. So especially with your friends outside of the office. When you say something negative and complain about your boss, it looks like you're not in control of your professional life, and it doesn't look good on you. And she said if you're complaining to someone at work, there is also a possibility that your boss is going to find out. And so it says, do not bite the hand that is signing your paycheck. Thought that was interesting. Yep, that is everything that I wrote down, all of my comments about this book. I feel like it's a little dated. I don't know exactly when this was written, let's see. But, yeah, after this I'm kind of interested in reading a book from someone who has lived corporate life a little bit more. Yeah, so, I don't know. It says 2019, but I feel like it just sounds much older than this. I don't know. If you were interested in any of the topics that I talked about, you can read a lot more in here. But it's so much of easy read. I thought it was very much easy flowing. I felt like it was a little dated, or it was not very much corporate centered, but it's like work in general. And I think if someone's starting their first job, or new into working, they might actually benefit from it. But if you've been in the work field for a long time, you might already know these by trial and error, so it might not be as useful to you. But yeah, So I finished this one. I'm just so excited so I can start something else.